Sometimes it's not good to live in the past, but I think right now, everyone is thinking about the 80s and 90s, the good old days. Simpler times, playing Nintendo, popping in a VHS tape, or maybe even having an old school car with analog gauges, or maybe even just having a 6-speed manual. Well, Ford has the car for you for the 2026 Ford Mustang GT. But this isn't just any Ford Mustang GT, this is the FX Edition Appearance Package. Now this is a throwback to the Fox body Mustangs from the 80s and 90s. We have the nice teal color here, which is a huge throwback, but also I think a great touch for the S650. And we also have some other accents that really stand out for this model. In today's very quick video, we're going to check out the Ford Mustang GT for 2026 with its FX Edition package and see what it's offering and why, if you're someone who's living in the 80s and 90s mentally, you can come back to the present here heading into 2026 and get yourself a Ford Mustang with a V8. Now before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Acton Ford in Acton, Massachusetts for letting me come down here to check out this Ford Mustang GT. Their link will be in the description below so you can check out their extensive Ford inventory. So as always, let's begin with that pricing. For the 2026 Ford Mustang GT Premium, you're looking at a starting cost of just over $51,000. But as you and I both know, this isn't just any GT Premium, it is the FX Edition. Now through this package, you'll be paying an extra $1,700, and you're probably wondering, all right, what do I receive here through this package? Let's dive right into that. Up front, you are going to have the Oxford white Ford Mustang emblem, which contrasts very well with the gloss black grille. This is a really nice touch here. Also, we have the Adriatic blue paint color before I forget on that one. Interestingly enough, you can get this color without going with the FX Edition. I'm a bit surprised by that. It's a new color for 2026. As you make your way over to the side profile, you're going to have 19-inch alloy wheels, the 5-spoke design, which I think is a lot better than what you're going to find out of the GT Performance package. This will also be found in Oxford white, and you will have the 5.0 badge outlined in Oxford white. And then as you make your way around to the back here, that's right, more Oxford white with the GT badge. Really, really nice. Now diving into the other aesthetics here for 2026, up front you are going to receive full LED headlights, so you're going to have a lot of visibility at night or when you are just cruising around on a winding back road when the sun is setting. Then we have that gloss black grille here, which looks really nice on this Mustang. Now you're probably wondering, what about the Oxford white accents here? Well, that's through the GT Performance package. To be honest, I think when you take a look at this car from far away, it appears better without having that in the grille. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, we have the honeycomb mesh grille here for the lower portion of the front bumper. Very, very nice. Also, we have the intake up front on the hood. That's also in gloss black. Making our way over to the side profile, we just talked about those 19-inch wheels, which I do think this is the way to go for this model and also with this color. You have gloss black side mirror caps with turn signal indicators to go along with blind spot detection for added safety. Then making our way around to the back, we can't forget about the sloping roofline, the fastback design here for the S650 generation. Then you're going to have the LED taillights once again with the sequential turn signals. That's a really nice touch here on this car. And then for the lower portion of the rear bumper, all right, we have some cladding here. You know, some people might not like that, but we have the quad exhaust outlets letting us know that we do have that V8 under the hood. And speaking of that V8, let's talk about the performance numbers. Powering the Ford Mustang GT Premium is a beautiful sight. A 5-liter V8 engine, producing 480 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. It can be paired with either a 6-speed manual or 10-speed automatic transmission, even with the FX Edition package. So it's solely an appearance package, and you're not missing out on the performance that you get here out of this car. Now, obviously, with the active exhaust and 93 octane, you're going to notice a boost in performance, but that's very minimal, so I wouldn't read too much into those numbers. What you get here standard is pretty fantastic. Obviously, with this being a muscle car, you are going to have rear-wheel drive. And this is the setup here. Rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, the way a muscle car is supposed to be. I'm talking to you, Dodge, on that one. And then obviously we got to talk about the fuel efficiency numbers. We got to be fair. We talk about this all the time in these reviews. You're looking at right around 15 miles per gallon in the city and 23 miles per gallon on the highway. For a lot of you, you're going to be using the open roads. You're going to be taking on those back roads and having a lot of fun. So it's still somewhat efficient here, but miles per gallon are far more important than miles per gallon. Hopping inside the Ford Mustang GT by going with the FX Edition package, you're going to receive power adjustable heated seats for both the driver and passenger. But notice the plaid style inserts for the seats. Brings a lot of character to this car, but there's also some other minor details that might get overlooked here that you won't find on paper. So on the dashboard, you're going to find some contrasting stitching here, and also the Adriatic blue stitching too. That is a really nice touch on this car. So it's not just the exterior, it's the interior as well. And you see that on the center console. Really, really cool stuff here. Taking a look in front of you, you are going to have this leather wrap steering wheel, which feels really nice in the hands. Aggressive 10-2 and firm 9-3 grips. It feels really nice here for a muscle car. I like the stitching as well. Now in front of you is going to be a full digital gauge cluster, and by using the buttons on the right side of the steering wheel, you can scroll through a variety of information and also customize this layout to your liking. You can go with the Fox body style if you so desire to truly live in the 80s and 90s here. On the left side on the dashboard will be the dial for your outside lighting, also the button that'll open up that trunk. Now taking a look to your right here with the infotainment system, a nice decently sized screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility to go along with onboard navigation. Now this screen is well within arm's reach, even though there's not a lot of physical buttons and dials here inside this car. But I think a lot of you are going to like the simplicity of this screen more importantly. At the bottom of this head unit will be the icons for your AC, front rear defrosters, fan speed, fan direction, your heated front seats, heated steering wheel, and your dual zone climate control. To the right, you're going to find more icons here for your settings. So from here, you can scroll through radio, add phone, sync navigation. It's all going to be right here. Responsiveness is pretty good too, so it's not lagging too much here with this screen. You're also going to have your features and apps. So from here, you can have your driver assistance, your My Mustang, edit favorite, owner's manual, and record feedback. But probably more importantly with this screen is going to be My Mustang, and you can easily access that with the Mustang badge on the dashboard here. And by pressing down on that button, here we have track apps, auxiliary gauges, custom mode, my color, cluster themes. So with the digital gauge cluster, you can adjust it to match drive mode or normal, sport, track, com, classic 6768, Fox body 8793, and SVT Cobra 99 to 01. I think for this particular model, we're going to go Fox body 87 to 93. In fact, 93 was my birth year. So this is actually really cool stuff here, and I love this gauge layout. It looks awesome. Also, you do have traffic sign recognition, so not quite like 1993, but still pretty cool here with the resolution. I like the customizability, more importantly here, out of the Ford Mustang for 2026. Obviously, you are going to receive a rear backup camera with trajectory here, with this being a car built in the 2020s. Then continuing on the dashboard, you're going to have that button layout once again here for your engine start stop. Also, your traction control on and off, I would leave that on here with this being a Mustang and also with it being around 33 degrees today. Your hazards, then of course your favorite settings here, so you can have launch control, auto hold, rev matching, it is all right here, and then max AC. Also, you have a physical volume knob as well. Continuing on for the center console here, you can have a USB-C and USB-A outlet, a cubby for a smartphone or wallet, then your gear shifter for that 6-speed manual, love to see it, your electronic parking brake, your 2 cup holders, and there will be a center storage compartment here, which is decently sized. You can probably have a wallet or smartphone or other tech gadgets here in this car. Today I am not going to sit in the second row, but you at least have second row seats so you can have small kids in the back if you are going to a local Cars and Coffee. Then returning to the rear fascia to take a look at the cargo area, because believe it or not, the Ford Mustang GT is actually rather practical. And when you open up the trunk, inside, behind the second row seats, you're looking at right on 13.5 cubic feet of room. That's right. So that would be on par with a Subaru WRX, an Elantra N, Honda Civic Si. So if you're someone who's looking for a flexible muscle car, you want to go on some road trips with a significant other, or you're going on a rally with a close friend, I think you'd easily store probably 6, 7, 8 bags of luggage back here. So really nice. So this car not only is fun in a straight line and on the roadways, you can also live with it on a daily basis. So we are setting off on a test drive with this 2026 Ford Mustang GT with the FX Edition package. And I gotta be honest, huge thank you to Acton Ford for even letting me do this, because I was just gonna come down and do a walkthrough of it. And honestly, this is a bit dangerous for me because I've been looking at a Ford Mustang with a 6-speed manual, because the prices are really good. And sure, I think some people out there would prefer the dark horse and the 6-speed manual that comes with that particular trim. But I'll be honest, even though this isn't the best manual that money can buy right now, it's so nice. It is so nice. I will say this is a very easy car to drive. Sure, the clutch is light. And there's not a lot of feel with that shifter, but honestly, this is kind of beating my expectations right now. There is nothing like the sound of a V8 either. Now, we're not going to do our normal loop with this being a special edition, so I don't want to put too many miles on it. But we are going to take it to my usual spot where I can get some photos of this car. Now, with these seats, there's actually a good amount of grip to them with the FX appearance package. And I like the retro feel. Now, I do think, though, that more aggressive Recaros would probably be nicer. But one thing I will say, though, is that especially with this generation, maybe even the generation before, this has become more like a Grand Tour than the muscle car always was. Because you can kind of rev it out, and I mean, you'd have to be a complete moron to hit somebody when leaving a car show, or, you know, hitting a tree. So this is actually going to be a car that you can easily walk into, you can have some fun, and even factoring in that, okay, you know, we have the GT Premium, but still though, at around $47,000 for just a GT, you know, I mean, you're getting a car that puts down a lot of power, extremely fun, offers a 6-speed manual. Really don't know what else you could ask for. I will say though that with the steering input, it's very light, kind of vague. And maybe it's going to be a bit more enjoyable and engaging on a winding back road. You know, just driving around in stop-and-go traffic, not so much, but still. For a first impression here out of the S650, I'm digging it. I really am. Everyone that's complained about this 6-speed manual, I don't know. I mean, sure, I have driven better manuals out there from Japanese cars, but how many American muscle cars are there still that offer a manual at this price point? There's none. Chevrolet Camaro's gone. We don't really have a Dodge Charger or Challenger right now with a manual. So this is really all you got. And what I will say too, the gear ratios here for the Mustang are more in line with my type of driving. Because I'm so used to driving JDM cars with short gear ratios, I like the longer gears here. I can actually rev it out. You know, even in stop-and-go traffic or cruising around in the city and suburbs, I can actually enjoy it. And that is something that I can really appreciate here out of the Ford Mustang. Also, suspension-wise, it's not abusive. It is comfortable. And while on a daily today, with it being around 33 degrees, and also living up here in New England, maybe it's not ideal to drive this every day, I can totally see this being a daily driver if you don't need a family car. So all in all, after this quick test drive, I know it's not my usual route, but I'm also trying to beat the sun here for this entire video, with it being close to 2 o'clock. I'm enamored. I'm like 100% enamored with this car, because I was looking at buying one. The idea of buying a manual Mustang next year, with it being the 250th birthday for the United States, taking some road trips, maybe going to the original 13 colonies, visiting some sites, that the Mustang would be a great companion for that road trip. And what I'm experiencing right now here, at least for the GT Premium, it is a very comfortable car, extremely comfortable car that I would have no problem driving on a daily basis. This has me thinking. This has me thinking a lot right now, and it's not what my bank account wants to hear. But I will say, though, that at least at some point, maybe when it gets warmer out or another opportunity arises, I want to do like a longer test drive with a Ford Mustang with the 6-speed manual, because I'll be honest, this manual is not the worst I've experienced, and I wouldn't be complaining if I lived with one on a daily basis. This is actually a very impressive car, and also impressive package too with the exterior styling. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review for the 2026 Ford Mustang GT Premium. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.